With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Live from Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the racing capital of the world, it's the Precision Racing League NASCAR Cup Series from the road course. It's the penultimate round of the PRL Cup Series on Sundays this season. I'm Dylan Coyle, joined alongside Derek Watson tonight, and we've got a great show to get into. A championship battle between two drivers who have just battled it out neck and neck all season. Trent Dinkle, Landon Mills, they're 1-2 in practice. Qualifying currently underway right now. Let's take a quick look at where we are, though, in this season schedule. It's been 8 races so far here, Derek. We've started at the road course. We took a little, this has been the road course season, right? 4 races out of the 10 are all on the lefts and rights. And I think that's led to a lot of intrigue for some of the drivers who may have not been as confident in their oval abilities, more so their road abilities this year. But still, Trent Dinkle has just been outstanding.
Yeah, it's been a great season for Trent Dinkle. And this is a very diverse schedule that's really pushing the boundaries of what we can do. Let's go and take a look at the points here, and you'll kind of see what we're talking about.
Yeah, Dinkle currently has a 21, scratch that. Yes, 21 point. There we go. Advantage. I can count over Landon Mills. However, this is kind of weird, and it doesn't tell the whole story. Remember, we do have drop weeks enabled for this league. 1 drop week for the worst result that any driver is going to have. Mills has, honestly, Landon Mills might have his worst week be last week when he went weird in the strategy. We'll talk about that later, but we do know Dinkle has 1 week where he scored only 11 points. Every other week has been incredible, and we don't know if he's even going to be able to show up at Watkins Glen. Behind Mills is Abner Acosta, who's doing a very fine job of keeping with him. And look at that, Pat Harvey, Chris Hudson, James O'Brien, and Jose Acosta from 5th to 7th, separated by just 4 points. 1 point between Robert Bisol Jr. and Maverick Davis, 8th and 9th. Of course, Bruno Mello, 10 points back of that 9th place spot. We move on to the teams standings right now, and no surprise again, private label Team Hype have been the team with all the hype this season, up 592 points. I mean, after tonight, we might be able to say, yeah, they're the team's champion for sure.
Yeah, very much a likely possibility to see that happen here. You see the top of the points. You're going down Love Racing, SGE Entourage, SG Apex, the team there with Landon Mills, performing well up in P6. So the team battle a little bit more out of reach than the individual battle, I think.
Yeah, agree there. It's always difficult to really get that team battle going, but we've got to thank some of our great partners with PRL Racing Action. Advanced Sim Racing is owned and operated by passionate sim racers. Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. All PRL members also get a 5% discount on ASR products using the Precision5 coupon code. Racebox Sim Racing. Racebox offers mid and high-end button boxes for sim racing enthusiasts, from the casual gamer up to the most meticulous sim racing driver. Competitively priced and carefully handcrafted, our button boxes are an enjoyable addition to any sim racing setup. Visit RaceBoxSimRacing.com and get a 5% discount using the Precision5 coupon code. Butt Kicker. Butt Kicker products add incredible immersion and realism to every game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seats. Mecha Sim Hardware. Mecha Sim Hardware is a small company from the Czech Republic, and their goal is to produce high-quality sim racing hardware. If you are looking for high-end pedal set, handbrake, or sequential shifters, visit Mecha Sim Hardware's eShop right now to get you up to speed. Muradness. Muradness is a performance lifestyle brand motivated by motorsport and founded by professional race car driver Daniel Morad. For more information, visit muradness.com. And finally, Mr. Hedge Sim Racing Photography. Mr. Hedge iRacing Photography lets you capture your finest, proudest, or simply worst moments from your hobby in up to 8K resolution. A great addition to any sim room. Well, on top of that, we also should mention that if you go to precisionracingleague.com right now, you'll see that signups for next season are all open for every league. If you want to race some GT cars, have some open wheel or some Cup Xfinity truck. I don't know if truck's coming back. I'm actually not sure if it's going to be Xfinity or a truck. I haven't looked that far ahead, but all three, perfect. We love to see that. More ways to get your oval fixed, but you can go to precisionracingleague.com right now. Sign up. It's available to all members of the PRL. It's a great time. Get your races on Race Spot with a wonderful professional broadcast team. Right now, we are seeing the last 2 minutes and change of qualifying here at the Indy Road Course, and Trent Dinkel just set a 1:27.987. That is almost 2/10 quicker than the time that Landon Mills has set in second. Currently watching the 37 take to the track. That's Eric Papanow. He's at a 1:32.172 on his flying lap. This is the third lap up to speed for him, so we'll see exactly what he's able to set. And this is a very tricky corner right here. I'm not sure he's up to full speed going out of it, but it looks like he finally gets it going correctly. Just going to get that wheel spin in it. He's going to cross the yard of bricks, and he's going to move up just a spot or two, up to 18th. Papanow with a 1:31.833.
Yep, doing a great job here, keeping the car consistent. Now we're looking at Abner Acosta, who had a great run Wednesday night in the Xfinity Series, ran second place almost all night long. And this number 5 private label machine is now going to come out here and get ready here. This is 13 and 14, so I believe he's here on track. We're going to see him try to complete a lap here. And and talked to Abner pre-race, and he said he does not have what he called Trent or Landon pace, but remains hopeful for this evening.
So the interesting thing, as we're still watching on Acosta, I don't believe Acosta, as he sets a time that's 1:28.458. So that was his last timed lap. You can get 4 time laps here on the road course, which is very different than we typically see with 2 time laps on the oval. It's a 10-minute qualifying session, so a lot more time to get these laps set down, and I think people underestimate how long it can be to get 4 laps on a road course sometimes. So they want to get out as quickly as possible. Matthew Campbell right there in that aero kick, or what is that? The super kick me is on the rear deck lid, and we love to see that. But Aerokinetics machine, what a beautiful blue and white scheme that he's got. He's going to just peel off in the pit road, which is right after turn 13, or right in turn 13, I should say. And that is the checkered flag. Qualifying is over. Trent Dinkle gets the pole. That lap time we saw him complete was the pole lap. The only one to get into the 127 mark with that 127.987. Still waiting to show. Yes, there we go. Landon Mills will be in second, just under 2/10 slower than Trent Dinkle. Abner Acosta, Joshua Daniels, the top 4, while Luke Christian and Bruno Mello round out the first 3 rows. We continue moving down with Chris Hudson and Pat Harvey side by side. Tristan Callahan, James O'Brien round out the top 10 with John Jones and Chad Kibbe, and that familiar Tar Heel Blue. That's a very difficult set of 3 sounds to make. 23 machine. Mike Witt, Matthew Campbell side by side in top 14. Jose Acosta, Robert Gamble 15-16, and Robert Besaw 17th. Eric Papanow in 18th. Few more cars to go with Jose Medina, the last car to set a lap time over 5 seconds off of Trent Dinkle's pace. Maverick Davis, once again, is going to try and move up the field from the back with TJ Bartel, Wayne Grassi, Bradley Moore, Tom Amacy rounding out the top 24. Richard Pruitt is 25th. So, 25 cars getting ready for the second to last, the penultimate round of the PRL season. A lot of questions still to be answered. What we do know is that this is a 50-lap race without cautions, Derek.
Yeah, in theory. PRL has always told us and its members that it would only ever throw a caution on a road course if the track would be fully blocked and undrivable. We came darn close to that earlier this season at the Chicago road course as the first time. They've never done it yet. If there's a candidate for it to happen, it's going to be turn 1, lap 1. After that, we should be clear on the threat of a yellow in this race.
I did hear knock on wood in the background there. Knock on wood for sure as we get ready for this 1 lap pace lap, the parade lap before the race begins. It's a 2.44 mile road course, a bit of a new variation, and I say new as in it's been used by multiple series over the past better part of the decade. If anybody remembers the Formula 1 races here, they were on a slightly different configuration, mostly around this part of the track, that first sector. We see Trent Dinkle on board right now. I hope he keeps this clean every week. He's got a week to wash everything, right? Because he's very consistent with the jersey he puts on.
Yeah, hey, sometimes every driver has a superstitious thing, whether it's a lucky shirt. I had some friends tell me today that apparently peanuts are unlucky in racing. I didn't know that today. Or some people think that green race cars are unlucky in racing. So everyone has that moment. You just have to take care of it. Do what works for you. Did you know that peanuts are unlucky in racing?
I did not. Tell me more.
Apparently, in the early days of stock car racing, there were some drivers who had pretty bad accidents across different tracks, and the one trend that they could find was they all had peanuts in their car.
I gotta ask why.
I was like, well, maybe the peanuts in the car, why they had to act like, I don't know. But yeah, so peanuts, if you Google it, that's some people think peanuts are a bad tradition across racing.
Well, I hope Blue Christian does not have any peanuts in his car, at least where he is sitting on his sim rig right now. So that would be bad luck. Now, in the real world, NASCAR has changed the restart zone to just after turn 13 and going into turn 14, the last corner of this course on the typical oval turn 1. Now, here, it's probably a bit different. We're going to see them have the pace car let them go, and then the green flag will probably fly right before they get to the start-finish line. The only visible portion of the bricks that were laid on this track many, many years ago that are still on track on the racing surface. Bruno Mello, we get that view looking down at his setup right now. And, well, there is a car off track right as the pace car is coming off. We're about ready to go green flag racing right here. Coming to the line. Trent Dinkle will lead everybody to the green. Still in hand. Green flag is out. We are underway here. 2 rounds to go in the PRL Cup Series season.
Now they're going to come down here to the most dangerous corner of my mind, turn number 1. Going to see him too wide. Everyone's good as far as I can tell all the way back there.
Yeah, everybody for the most part is all good. There is some contact actually farther back in the field, but all of a sudden Trent Dinkle has given way to Landon Mills, who will lead as we go through this quick left-right flick chicane down to what they call the backstretch here. It's in the middle of the oval.
Oh, we got a cart around.
Is that the 42? Yes, that is. The 42 is around Jose Acosta. His season, it just keeps getting more detrimental. Side by side, heading down to turn 7. Then we get through the S's here. It's very difficult to keep the car quick and at speed if you don't get a good turn in at turn 7. Seems like everyone in the top half of the field does. So far, so good. There's a spin, or is that just tire smoke in the background? Lots of things happening. What we do know is at the front of the field, moving through turn 13 into turn 14, Landon Mills has the advantage, but Trent Dinkle is hot on his tails, has the momentum. A little bit of a wiggle from Landon Mills. Dinkle gets all the way up to the wall. The momentum is in his favor. Coming down the block on the inside, coming to turn 1 is Landon Mills. Dinkle will go diving down the inside, almost gets into the back of Mills, locks up the right front, and goes way into the grass. Dinkle will slide back onto the track, doesn't hit anybody, but by him is Abner Acosta and a whole group of cars. He's back down into 5th place, 6th place now as Christian goes by.
And now it'll shake up things here for a bit, as it'll take, even if he has that pace, he being Trent Dinkle, pronouns pal, even if he has that pace to catch up here, it's going to take him time to get through this traffic. This just opened this race up as the guy who qualified fastest and has run the fastest laps here now has a lot of work to do. And this road course is not known for a lot of passing. And look at the slow there again, having a hard time here.
Yeah, what just happened? I wonder. Oh, yeah, he definitely had a slowdown penalty, and I think he had that slowdown from basically cutting turn 2 when he overshot turn 1. I think he cut turn 2. This has just turned into a horrible situation for Trent Dinkle, and of course with the almost zero, and as we saw in Christopher Nolan's new movie Oppenheimer, almost zero is still not zero, but it's pretty much a 0% chance of a yellow coming out in this race. Dinkle's got a lot of ground to make up. If there's one driver, though, I expect to be able to make up that ground, it's him. Here we go to the replay system of bad hit on the curbs for Acosta as Landon Mills just set the fastest lap. Of course, this is lap 2, but that's a bad curb hit, did not collect anybody else. Dinkle is coming down the inside, by the way. Yeah, we saw the tire smoke right there, and he made some contact, but got the move done, and Harvey's almost just going to let him go by.
Yeah, now what's important for Trent Dinkel right here is he needs to calm down. He needs to kind of get his head together, maybe breathe heavily, say a couple words, and then move on. As a race car driver, it's easy to get in your head, and once you do that, now that one mistake comes into another, then to another. Don't make aggressive passes because you're angry. That'll only make the situation worse.
We see Dinkel still, I mean, he's desperate to try and get around all the traffic he can as early as he can because, I mean, this race is going to be a short race. Heck, the Xfinity Series race was 62 laps here on Saturday evening. This is a 50-lap affair. We're getting another replay here. We'll see exactly what happened. Uh-oh, the New Jersey Devils car is going into potentially the wall. No! Oh! Yeah, no, he just came right across the track and got tagged. It's kind of the worst place to be if you're the 34. Or I couldn't quite see who Moore got tagged by, but kind of just came right across. Gave him a jump scare real quick. Joshua Daniels, fastest lap, around 4/10, I should say 5/10 off the pace, 4/10 off the pace of the qualifying lap, so it just shows you how fast these cars are still moving, even if they're not putting it all on the line. Mills, Acosta, Daniels, Mello, Christian, your top 5.
Now, right now, the moment to talk about here is, it'll be a small difference, but of course, Dinkel came in up in points in first place. He'll lead here if they finish like this first in points, but he'll close that gap a little bit. Will Landon Mills and Abner Acosta coming in the finale night, and that would be interesting because you have to think with an 11 on the board, that will be the drop for Dinkel. He cannot drop next week. This could be a real points battle if he can't get back up there and into the front before this race is over.
Yeah, that's been the biggest thing we've talked about for the second half of the season. I mean, he doesn't know exactly what his plans are. Nonetheless, the other thing that he's got to worry about, and all of these drivers have to worry about, it's so easy to overshoot the corners here and kind of misjudge how much brake power that you actually have. If you do that enough, or you have more contact, as there's more lockups going on all over, you see that tire smoke right there. The 23, Chad Kibbe, was the one who had that tire smoke and with the lockup. You get the 13 incident points in the iRacing system, and you get a drive-through penalty. I mean, that's a loss of 50 or so seconds. It's one of the longest pit lanes in the iRacing service. Actually, it's the longest pit lane, I believe, in NASCAR itself. So it's I think 0.32 miles, if I'm remembering exactly, but it's a substantial loss of time, and if anyone gets that 13x in this race, that will be horrible. 40 mile per hour pit lane speed limit.
Now we're going to take a look here and watch this race here for a few minutes as this is now going to calm down. We're 5 laps in, the tires are warming up, the drivers have gotten a couple laps in to get the cobwebs out, get all the butterflies out of your stomach. So now we'll see who really has pace here, who will surprise us. Every time we come to a road course, I think you see a new name at the top of the board that you're not used to seeing. And at some point that'll filter up here, same as it does in any oval road course race.
Right now we're seeing the usual suspects where they typically are. Maverick Davis is moving his way through the field. That 33 car is James O'Brien. He is in 11th right now. So this, or 10th I should say, this is a battle for the first spot inside of the top 10. And Davis will take a little bit off the gas pedal to get himself around turn 14. So no momentum working in his favor down this historic front stretch here in Indianapolis Motor Speedway. He'll lock up and he'll slide into the wall and somehow keeps it on track and almost gains a 10th or 100th there. He's still sliding it. Here's what we got to talk about too. It's hot. It's hot on track. It's 115 degrees Fahrenheit. We'll get a replay here of, I think, Chad Kibbe. Yes, so Kibbe coming around the final complex of this track. Oh, that's a hard place to get the car slowed down. He almost, does he T-bone anybody? Or does he just barely slide through and thread the needle? I'm not sure. And 33 goes by, and I think Kimmy slowed it up, and holy cow, nobody hit him.
That's impressive, the fact that he got away with that. We saw it in super slow motion there. But, oh, hold on, that car behind him could have been a culprit too. But, yeah, nice job for Kibby there, not getting hit. A little bit of luck involved, and sometimes luck is needed in racing, and that was one of those moments.
It's one thing here where at the road courses in the PRL season with pretty much the potential, as Davis just slides the rear tires through that turn 14, which is almost somewhat necessary. You want to get a little bit of slip in those tires to get the car fully rotated to the right. You know, with it being so hot and just so difficult to course correct any mistakes made in this race. There's almost no yellows, so there probably will not be a yellow. If there is one, I'd be shocked. But that makes every mistake even more important to kind of the detriment of your race. That's what I'm trying to say.
And it makes every decision more important too. And you think about this as just a race, almost like a road course, like a GT3 sprint race almost, where there's not a yellow coming most likely. So you start making decisions. When do I want to pit? You know, how hard do I want to push? How much gas do I want to save? And those are decisions you have to make right now. Yes, we're only on lap 7, but 6 laps ago, you should have started thinking about those things and figuring it out. Do you want to pit backwards like the old classic NASCAR style and pit as soon as the window opens to get out of traffic? Do you want to push it as long as you can and maybe there is that first time yellow? There's a lot of decisions to be made here, and those are also very obvious as this race goes on.
Biggest gap to kind of look at is the one between Dinkle and Mills, which is around 7+ seconds at this point. We're watching the battle still go on between Maverick Davis and James O'Brien. Papinal is around the SGE Esports Apex driver in the Chevy Camaro 37. He's trying to get back on track, just waiting until everybody goes by, and that costs him not just a lot of time, but a lot of track position as well. Yeah, the lap, everything with this track being so hot is just destroying some tires. Look at Davis. I mean, goodness me, he is trying everything he can do to get around James O'Brien, just unable to do it. We get another replay here. Is this Papinal? Slowing down for the corner, but got absolutely nailed from behind. Can't quite see. We'll see the number as he comes by, or maybe not. The screen. And we'll try and get that information. But he got into the back of Papinal, and just nothing you can do. There's no way to get back unless you could just put down some fast laps. This battle is good on track right now.
This battle is interesting. It's almost like you can tell the Maverick Davis is having a hard time despite the close battle here. Look at that. Locking
got into
that up
the back
every
of it.
time. See, that's a difference in how you view it, like a half empty, half full kind of viewpoint. It tells me if Maverick Davis would back this up a little bit and set up a pass, he'd have an easier time than riding that bumper the whole time.
So another thing to keep in mind too with all these battles that we have kind of seen go awry, or this one, which is still somehow okay, just breaking a moment, just a fraction of a moment later than the car in front means that you're going to not only have to account for the time that they put on the brakes, where they were at, say, the marker number 1 when they put on the brakes. Well, you should put on the brakes theoretically in marker number 1 too, but if you put on the brakes a little bit past that, not only are you just diving it in there, but you're trying to take away several dozens of yards or meters or whatever you want to call it. You're closing in quickly. So just a fraction of a difference can mean all the difference between hitting the back of the car in front or just trying to make a pass. I can't really explain my words right now, Derek. Here's a replay.
Let's watch this replay. Oh, there's a little bit of a lockup. There's a Matthew R.D. Campbell. Just got it off there, but that's over turn 1, if I can see that part of the I think so. The other finishing thought to your idea, though, to finish that thought of what the difference is here to watching that battle so live on the bottom right of your screen. And the part that concerns me is when you're the trailing car and you're locking it up like that every corner or every other corner or once a lap, whatever you're doing, you are killing those tires. You are killing your tires. And so then, what, let's say 5, maybe 10 laps from now, you're going to be the car at a disadvantage if you've been smoking your tires and you've been on them really hard, and the guy in front of you is just kind of not so much.
That's very true. And the estimated time or estimated fuel window is 30 to 35 laps, which is past the halfway point here. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some drivers stay a little bit longer than just cutting this race in half itself. But to be honest, if they don't go halfway, then there's almost no time to the game. Maybe 1 lap difference is what we're going to see as Davis just sends it down the inside of O'Brien. O'Brien has to take the corner a little bit wide to avoid being tagged by Davis. These are just 2 cars that are running extremely similar lap times. Davis just can't inch out ahead because O'Brien's not really making any mistakes. By the way, Trent Dinkle did pass Bruno Mello, but got offline in turn 1, lost that spot he had just gotten, so he's still in 5th. I think we're going to see the replay of that right now. So look at all that speed that Dinkle has coming out of turn 14, over the yard, up brakes down the front stretch. Dinkle will pull down to the inside of Bruno Mello and almost inch ahead and makes the pass on corner entry before they even get to the apex. But again, Dinkle just completely overshoots turn 1. These are rare mistakes we never see Trent Dinkle make.
No, we really don't. I mean, a lot of people came into tonight expecting Trent Dinkle to sort of run away with this, and so to see that happen is amazing. But coming back to this battle here, the thought that entered my head, you were talking about pit windows, and we think it's going to open somewhere between lap 15 and 20. What I see in this battle is I think Maverick Davis is a little faster than the car in front of him, than James O'Brien, and he's sort of frustrated he can't get around. If I was Maverick Davis, I would pit the moment this window opens and then just not be in this battle, and maybe your pace naturally will prove itself and you'll pass him, as things cycle. That's what I would try here if I was Maverick Davis, to see if I could, find a way around this.
I still think that for Davis, there's still a lot of time before we see that move, somehow made, because if you pit, say, the earliest you can go to make it to the end of the race, which is lap 15, you're going to lose so much time as the tires just continue to wear out here. You almost only have to think of a 1-lap undercut or a 1-lap overcut and see what you can do. If it's an overcut, it's with the time spent in clean air. If it's an undercut, it's the time, that 1 extra lap spent on fresh tires. I don't expect anybody to do anything radically different from each other except for 1, 2, maybe even 3 laps different because of that tire wear, as Davis gets heavy on the brakes again, locks up the left front this time, and there's just no way he can get by. This is just great driving from James O'Brien, who is not making a single wrong move so far in this ongoing battle.
No, but the risk he's taking, though, and where I become uncertain a little bit, to be honest with you, is when you see Maverick Davis is behind you, and he's burning up the brakes, he's burning up the tires, he's kind of up on you every lap, you have to ponder to yourself, what is the value in racing him this hard on lap 12? If he's that frustrated, he could end up just tapping you by accident or just tapping you out of frustration. He could end up making an aggressive pass to get by you because he wants around. At lap 12, if you think you're faster than Maverick Davis, let him go, let him burn up his stuff, and then catch him later and keep yourself out of danger.
That's a very fair point right there, Derek. I guess it kind of just depends on if Davis is able to get around him, or if he's not able to, how much tire he just kind of takes off the rubber by trying to make a move here. He's got a decent run coming out of 14, but because he slides up at the wall. O'Brien's going to have more speed, at least in the initial part of this straightaway. Something to keep in mind, not that we have to talk about it or see it right now, is once again, as this turn one potential move happens, Abner Acosta is keeping Landon Mills very honest right now. He's only 1.3. It's varying between 1.2 to 1.4 seconds behind as we get a replay, but James O'Brien has made a mistake. So we'll see this replay. Bradley Moore here going off track on screen live in the bottom right-hand side. Maverick Davis just made the move on James O'Brien. That was a perfectly timed move from Davis to capitalize on the only mistake James O'Brien has made so far. I wouldn't be surprised if Maverick starts pulling away now, but all in all, great defense by O'Brien, and great job from our producer Mike to make that pass happen right there with that replay.
Yeah, I agree with you, by the way. I was going to make a mental note out loud. 0.7 seconds is the gap between Maverick Davis and James O'Brien right now. You see it on the left-hand side of your screen. If we come back to it just sort of subconsciously in 2, 3, or 4 laps, I'm with you. I think that gap increases to maybe a second or more. I think that Maverick Davis was the faster driver. I could be wrong, but we'll see. Let's take a look at a replay here. This is going to be that mistake you talked about here. Maverick Davis keeping the pressure on here. And just stays behind him, and then James O'Brien comes to cut through this right-hand corner and just misses the braking point, and Maverick Davis just sinks. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, that's just that one mistake we were talking about, him not making a single mistake. It's bound to happen. It's very unusual to have a perfect Sunday drive, and that's what James was having until that moment. Well, I should say perfect to be in a battle for 10th. Maybe not perfect by standards that he has for himself. But nonetheless, this is a pretty big logjam up in front. The 42, remember, who's had some issues in his race so far, Jose Acosta, is just throwing it over those very same curves and that quick 5-6 complex to remember that was the one he had problems on earlier in this race. He says, I don't care, I'm racing them the same way. You can't be scared of them.
Yeah, and that camera shot's a good way to see right there that as a driver, I think that's the hardest thing as instinct to break when you're learning road racing is you want to use the curves, right? As oval drivers, we're sort of taught that curves are bad. You know, you don't want to get down there, you don't want to touch the apron, you don't want to touch the curbs. And here, curbs are good. It's a weird instinct to break as an oval driver, and I think why some oval drivers struggle with the concept of road racing.
So we look on board. I do believe that Chris Hudson there.
It is. Yeah. That is a weird seating angle, isn't it?
I feel like it probably isn't. It's just maybe a bit of a fisheye lens, something like that.
Looks like he's not sitting center.
Well, I would say, hey, maybe he's sitting more. Maybe the whole car is in length, and he's just positioned himself with the car being on the left side, driver's side in the stock cars. Who knows?
Look at him leaning. He needs to turn that car so hard. He's leaning in the corner. Watch him here. See if he does it again here.
He is. I know the feeling. If you don't subconsciously do that while in iRacing, I don't know how you make a move happen. Just record yourself racing. Yeah, is that?
It's like we went from like race car driving to bobsled all of a sudden.
Yes, it's exactly what it is. By the way, Landon Mills, the race leader, is handling some of the traffic he's facing masterfully, but Abner Acosta has just dispatched of some of them as well.
Speaking of traffic.
Well, that is not the track for the 24 car of Jose Medina, who will have to get back on. Look at that damage to the front of his car. He gets back on track, and right as he tries to light up the rear tires, goes off a little bit, gets back on. And he'll carry on with his disappointing day so far. This track right there, by the way, it's weird. You see the coloration, the difference in the stripes on the track on the right side from our angle to the actual track on the left side. You see that?
Yeah, I do see that. It's just part of the runoff there that we as race car drivers take advantage of and race on, I believe.
So it's actually interesting when the road course is not being used, and even when it is, it still has this name, but that's actually Holman Drive. If you're in Indianapolis Motor Speedway's inner confines, if you're in the infield, you'll notice compared to pretty much every other track, with a purpose-built track, that is, it has road names. So, for example, the infield care center is on 5th and Holman. Meanwhile, like 6th and Holman is, the entry to the garage. It's very different from what you'd see, because you're almost saying, yeah, this is a street course inside, because there's all these roads that aren't public, but they are named and function as road signs. It's pretty interesting.
Well, I think sometimes we lose perspective just from the TV angles of how big this complex is, right? Think about this for just the things it has. Listen, during real-life racing, it has concerts going on live. There's a golf course. Now, it's not in use during the race, but there's a golf course in this complex.
Watch this move, by the way. Sorry to cut you off right there.
Let's put it this way. This place is big enough. It housed NASCAR Cup cars, Xfinity cars, and IRL in the same weekend. That's unheard of in a lot of tracks.
Very true, and I'll talk about that in a second, but Dinkel has just made his way into 3rd place, and he is, remember we were talking about it being just over 7 seconds back of Landon Mills. Well, now he's over 8 seconds back of Landon Mills because of the battles he's found himself in. The biggest thing now for Dinkel is just, ensuring that he doesn't lose the amount of points that he potentially will. He's got to gain as many as he can, because right now, Landon Mills is on track for almost a maximum haul of points from this race, this whole session, whole event in general. By the way, we're talking about the size of this place, Derek. So the NASCAR haulers, the Cup and the Xfinity haulers, were parked in the same parking area, which never happens at any track this weekend. And the Xfinity haulers, from where you can just walk into where the car is usually parked in front, the space between that and the fence to where Holman Drive is, and then right past Holman Drive is the track itself. The space there is so minimal, it's absolutely insane. Like, it was a logjam of cars trying to pack up after the race last night. Definitely wasn't the most fun. Like to have a little bit more space. The Indy road course, even though the pit lane is so long, it's so narrow too. So everything just feels like, yes, it's huge, but when you get down to the nitty-gritty of some stuff, because it's so big and so packed from this weekend, it gets kind of wild. We're watching a replay right here of Chad Kibbe again, potentially having an issue. That's Mike Witt right in front of him. Kind of takes a bit of grass there in the entry to that quick 1-2 turn area and traverses off track, but gets back on without hitting any tire barriers or anything. We're currently watching Jose Acosta. There's a car off track right in front of him. Oh, you speak about Mike Witt, and he says, hey, I'm here, but unfortunately it's off track, going for a safari with his Gatorade 88. By him goes Acosta and Robert Gamble. Track conditions 111 degrees Fahrenheit. It was 109 degrees Fahrenheit not too long ago. It started at 112. There was a cloud that came over the track, and now the sun is back out. It's partly cloudy, so those temperature differences are not going to be coming in waves. It's going to relatively be within that same temperature. It's going to be hot. It's been slick. We've seen cars not able to handle it as well as they'd hoped for. And as we see this move from Acosta, we're actually going to see a replay as well. Campbell takes turn 1 nicely. Comes around turn 2. We'll see exactly what trouble he finds himself in. 3 is fine. Going into turn 4, misses the apex, slides, and does he keep it on the asphalt? it appears that he does. So he keeps the wheel spinning. Maybe he'll back up a little bit into the grass, but we rejoin live pictures. Jose Acosta, decent run out of turn 6. He's not going to have enough space to outbrake. Landon Mills has stretched his advantage over Abner Acosta, Derek. It's just under 6 seconds. And I mean, at this point, it's Mills' race to lose.
It does feel that way, right? I mean, Abner told us pre-race he didn't think he had what he called Landon or Trent Dingle pace, and that appears to be the scenario we're looking at here. Let's watch another replay here. This will be Mike Witt here in his Gatorade car.
What we saw earlier happen just on the corner.
Going to miss it. Yep, no contact, just misses it completely. Now, I think the question here is who practiced pit stops, who practiced pit entry, who practiced pit exit. These guys are all great at what they do, and I suspect they all did. But that's where you're going to make up time here if you're Abner Acosta. We've seen it happen a couple times in the past couple weeks in different series here on Race Spot where that pit delta matters. And maybe that's Abner's best chance at this point to make up time on Landon Mills.
The worst thing that Landon Mills could do to himself is speed in pit road. I mean, do not speed if you're Landon Mills. If you speed, you've lost this race. There's no coming back from that at all. If you wreck, if you go off course for a substantial margin, if you have a drive-through penalty of any sort, once you get to that 13x incident count, you are completely toast, and there is no way you're winning this race, and you can count on that. Another replay here, lots of things happening. Eric Papanow went off track and then adventured. Oh, actually, he went into the pits.
Let's say a pit entry.
Oh, here's what's happening. Tom Macy just misses that turn in there. I believe that's turn 12, and has to get it back fired. Gets it going again.
Now, you did mention earlier that Trent Dingle indicated that the pit strategy can be 30 to 35 laps. We're now within that 30-lap window. So any moment now, we can see cars starting to duck down and put some gas and tires on and finish this race.
It's going to happen soon. Obviously, Papanow feels like he can gain some with a large overcut here. Lap 21 of 50. We're almost at that halfway point. I would expect Mills to cut it directly in half at the end of lap either 24 or 25, whatever half he decides to choose. Those are going to be the laps he comes down into. So damage was just repaired, I think, for Papanow. 22.4 second pit stop. And 4 tires would make sense as well. You got to get those tires to really put in some good lap times. Here's a good indicator of where the race pace has gone to. So Landon Mills will take a quick at his lap times. Lap 21 was a 1:28, 3:62. Would you believe that Landon Mills is running? Well, actually, I think did he get his quickest time was a 1:28.42. I'm confusing myself. I think he cut something or got some incident points on his last lap, which would negate that fastest lap. So times for him and tires for him have not fallen off all that much. Sometimes you never exactly know what to expect when you're looking at lap times, as we see Pat Harvey just jumping over those curves. Matthew Campbell, who we saw have issues earlier, has been in the pits for a very long time now. I believe 6 minutes at this point, which is a big... That's a big race under right there. Mike Witt coming into the pits. So I think we're seeing a lot of cars just kind of coming into the pits now. And those are the cars that are already in the back of the field. They are just screaming for a refresh and a reset right here. Meanwhile, Landon Mills has a lot of traffic right in front of him. As Harvey, you see him lock the brakes up. Yeah, Mills has a ton of traffic and gets by them with ease. They just let him go at turn 1. Harvey, currently seeing on screen, trying to make some moves, and now we're going to get a replay as well. So this is Robert Beasall Jr., remember, fighting for the top 10 in the championship, and then just overcooks it just a tad, goes onto the grass, and comes back on, I believe, at turn 7. So he's all good. He's rejoined live pictures with Pat Harvey, fighting with Chris Hudson right now. This is over 7th place. Luke Christian's a little bit up the road from them. Pit stops are coming soon. Trent Dinkle has caught up to Abner Acosta as we speak, right before that midway point in the race. So Acosta, who fell back to now around 6 seconds, over 6 seconds, now under 6 seconds to Landon Mills, has been also falling back to Trent Dinkle's time. Derek, you said it, exactly what Abner said, didn't think he had Mills or Dinkle pace. Well, Dinkle is certainly showing that hypothesis to come true as Dinkle just slides it around the curbing. They get it back onto the front stretch, and they'll send it down heading into oval turn 4, but road course turn 1. Two teammates here in this battle, so we expect it to be very, while it is for spots in the championship, and Acosta still has the potential of winning the championship, it's just going to take a large Hail Mary here. I wouldn't be shocked if Acosta doesn't put up the biggest of fights. And then you see Papanow on clean or fresh tires, I should say, as well as Chad Kibbe in the 23 just in front. So this could get a little bit spicy between the 5 and the 9 for second. Dinkle sending it down the inside of Abner Acosta. Easy done. Yeah, he'll get the move done easily right there. And he'll take over second place. Acosta, I think, was a little bit late on the brakes as well. I don't see him being able to put up a fight against Dinkle unless Dinkle has another mistake or two of his own. Have we seen the end of Trent Dinkle's mistakes in this race? We'll have to kind of find out and just see as we are coming to that halfway point. So, by the way, the 88, we believe, just took lefts and fuel. So I wonder if, because it is a course that goes clockwise, we're dealing with that left-hand tires probably getting a little bit more wear than the right side tires, and I'm not exactly sure if that's gonna really be that much of a difference to just worn tires. Here, and Maverick Davis going for a slide and not hitting anybody else, coming back on track, almost did. He almost did again. So he lost 3 positions there in that endeavor that was a little more dramatic than we expected it to be. Dinkle is starting to pull away from Abner right there. Abner almost shortcutted the little chicane 5 and 6. And he's just losing some tenths here or there to Dinkle. Now it's around a second. In front of Dinkle is Chad Kibbe, who is the first car a lap down. Jose Acosta coming out of pit road right now. We expect Mills to come in very soon. Landon Mills currently going around turn 12. This is lap 25. So if he does come down here, which he will not come down here, so he'll go at least 1 lap past the halfway point. That's actually an interesting thing. Dinkle does not come down either 1 lap past the halfway point.
So I wonder about the mental game that's being played here for a second. So I was kind of peeking around and being nosy. Landon Mills has 2 spotters tonight. He has Travis Barton and Michael Peters in here in the session, helping spot for him, give him info, crew chief, whatever they're doing. I wonder if there's this game of chicken about who wants to go down pit road first. In other words, I want you to go down pit road first so I can see your delta, I can see what you're doing. Let's watch this replay real quick. This is Chad Kibbe. Had a rough night. Almost made contact there with Abner Acosta, by the way. But I want you to go first. I want to see your pit delta. I want to see your pit box time. I want to know what I have to beat when I go down pit road after you. I want you to do it first and feel the pressure, nailing it perfectly. So I wonder how much of that mental game is being played between Mills, Dinkle, and Abner Acosta.
You know, another thing to keep in mind here is, do they want to take 4 tires? Landon Mills just set his fastest lap time of the race the last go around on lap 25, 1:28.391. So in actuality, the tires are not wearing really at all for the drivers in front. What that would mean is they go to the end. So because the tires aren't wearing, aren't thinning down at all, because they're still putting in fast lap times, stay out. Forget any idea of any talk that we were saying about going at the halfway point. Stay till you can't make it last on fuel any longer and come in just for fuel and maybe, left side tires, if any tires at all, and try and go in with the fewest laps remaining so you have the fastest stop possible. Less fuel in the car means quicker stop if they're going just for fuel. So I think that's what they're looking at now, because there is no real tire wear.
Well, less fuel in the car also means faster lap times. It means there's less weight in the car. That's partially how we're pumping off faster lap times here on lap 25, 26, 27. It's just like running the 24 hours of Spa or the 24 hours of Nürburgring. When you get less fuel in the car, it goes faster. So that's part of the culprit. I agree with you, though. I'm not sure tires are necessary in this current model of tires we use here within iRacing. I don't know. That's something to play with and see how it works out for you.
Oh, Mills got into the wall right there, actually, on the left side. I'm not sure if you saw coming into the turn 12, right-hander. So it was a very light hit, but that could be an incident point, which, of course, easy to rack them up here. A few different cars are doing different strategies right now. Robert Wiesel Jr. came in just for fuel, but Harvey is coming in for a full set of 4 tires and fuel. So I think there's a little bit of differing strategy here, and I do wonder if it's just Landon Mills, Trent Tinkle, all of them up front are just so smooth with their inputs that they're able to keep the tires fresh for way longer.
Oh, that's definitely part of it, right? When you have someone who's good at anything in life, no matter whether it's road course racing, oval racing, golf, whatever it is, when you're good at it, you're able to make it look easier and to not burn up the skill or the equipment involved in doing it versus someone who's struggling. Because when you're struggling, you're mentally upset, you're slamming on the inputs harder, you're braking harder, you're turning harder. Yeah, you'll burn up those tires pretty easily. Let's watch this. Just an onboard here. This is going to be that wall hit I believe you talked about. Going to slow it down.
Just a very light brush, but you see a little bit of a shake.
What does the killer say? It was only a kiss?
It was only a kiss. It was only a kiss, Now she's falling asleep or whatever. I don't know how it goes. I do know how it goes. That's a lie. That's my biggest karaoke hit besides Piano Man.
Wow, really? That Piano Man? That's all right. That's creative.
Brother, I have a piano. I've got a harmonica. I've got a harmonica holder, and I've got vocal cords. I can do it all at once.
Wow. So like you're 75.
I'm 75, you said?
You said, yeah.
Fair.
He's here all week. Try the veal.
Yeah. Try the veal, please. I am here all week. Thankfully, yes.
Actually, speaking of all week, I want to kind of point out this is kicking off road course week here for PRL. Monday night, of course, tomorrow night here on RaceSpot is the GR86, and the last time, or close to the last time, pardon me, the LMP3 and GT4s will be the finale race on Mondays. Tuesdays is GT3s, Wednesdays is Xfinity and Cup at the Glen, Thursdays F3, and then next Sunday we're back here at the Glen. So this is a whole week of road course racing for PRL.
I do enjoy it. Maybe I'd enjoy it a little bit more if my College Racing team had better results this weekend. I said I wasn't going to talk about it, and I didn't want to talk about it, and I still don't want to talk about it. I just want y'all to know I'm upset about it. So there we go. Maverick Davis moving through turn 1 and 2. Yes.
Yeah, you did mention in the beginning, of course, the registration is now open for everyone, as far as I know, to join PRL. Head over to their website or to their Discord. On Mondays, they're bringing out 2 new series. So the LMP3s and GT4s will start Monday night. And then the finale race on Mondays, catch us out, Dylan, is going to be LMDHs and LMP2s in the same race together.
Oh, that's
It's going to
awesome.
be IMSA without the GT3s, basically.
That is awesome. Okay, so by the way, we're watching Maverick Davis. Jose Medina just got a black flag for, we believe, the incident point. Yes, the incident point's confirmed. I don't think he's happy about it. He's saying over the radio that he apparently it was a stop and go. So the penalty for the incident points is a stop and go. And now he gets into a wreck on track and takes out Luke Christian while talking on the radio, and they're exchanging words on the radio right now. We're not seeing that live, but there's a lot of drama going on in the race chat.
There definitely is, and that's a moment that it can make you upset when someone's too busy talking and distracted. It's like same as texting and driving in real life. And
Christian just spun out, and Medina just. There's a lot of drama going on right now in the back of the field. We're watching the 34. 34. Currently.
This is Bradley Moore, by the way.
Yes. Just kind of watching him right now, running his race, and we come back to this replay here. So, Jose Medina.
In the green.
Medina is talking on the radio still and just takes Christian out. Christian's unhappy. Christian says, "Why don't you shut up and drive?" was his exact words.
I've heard that song in cars before.
Yeah, right? And Medina then comes back and has some foul language and choice words for him. Now keep watching what happens here. Because Luke Christian in the gray car will lose it. This is Drift City right there, going into turn 12. And then, watch in the background, Jose Medina overcooks the corner.
So this is what we talked about earlier when I talked about Trent Dinkel and keeping calm, man. When you make a mistake or when something happens to you and you're the victim, you get mad, you get frustrated, you get angry, you start to see a little red, you miss at braking points, and there you go. That's what happens to you here. Now watch this. They're going to get passed by Abner Acosta here, and Luke Christian was not eager to let him go.
A lot of people are unhappy right now with stuff going on. We see another replay right here. Tristan Callahan was not happy on the radio with Tom Amacy. Callahan trying to get by Amacy, who is 3 laps down at this moment. Amacy could have let him by down the straight, but he decided to still race his race and held up Callahan at corner entry at 1. Callahan was not happy about that. I mean, yeah, move over if you're a lap down, but it's also fair. Was that? Might have been turn 12, but unsure. I think it was turn 1, but regardless, we're starting to see pit stops from the leaders. Now, this is where we're expecting pit strategy to come into play. Joshua Daniels, who was running 4th in the pits. Acosta, Dinkel, and Mills still out there. Mills just passed Mike Witt. Here's some interesting situational stuff going on here. Mills is only 3 seconds and some change up on Trent Dinkel. Dinkel, who had so many incidents in the opening few laps of this race, was at one point 8.5 seconds back. And you see that pit right there. I don't think that was any tires, so Joshua Daniels is going to stay out on the same tires.
Yeah, I didn't see the car lift on the car in front here. I thought I saw it lift.
Mills is coming in.
On the car behind. Landon Mills will come in right now, and we'll keep a track on that pit delta and see if he can make up any time on Trent Dinkel here. If we can go back there on the cameras and find out on pit road here.
Same with Dinkel, though. Trent Dinkel is coming into the pits as well. Abner Acosta is coming into the pits. So they've gone as long as they can, 32 full laps on one set, full tank of fuel. We'll see what the strategies are. If they decide to go for some tires, if they decide to keep it the same 4 tires, the same set of Goodyear rubber on the entire 50-lap race. This is the most important stop of any of them. 40 miles per hour, excruciatingly slow.
It is. It feels very slow when you're at this track and you're doing it here. I'm watching Landon Mills here. There's a car up. That's very obvious. He's putting tires on it.
Wow. Mills is putting left sides on. And
but I'm not surprised, though, because if you're only doing left sides...
But look at Dinkel.
it's going to take longer to put fuel in than it does to put left sides on. Why would you not put left sides on? It's free time. You're not gaining time by not putting left sides on, though.
Well, Mills also overcooked his pit box and had to put it in reverse, and we're literally talking like an inch or so. So that cost him time as well. This is a race. We've got a race. Dinkel, who is on the same 4 tires that he started the race on. He's gone 32 laps with the same left and right sides. Landon Mills has fresh new left side tires, and Mills overshoots the corner. Dinkel is breathing down his neck through the S's. He has a chance here, coming in through turn 8, now to turn 9. The right-hander, will he get it done in this braking zone? A little bit of a wiggle from Landon Mills, going back onto the big track. Dinkel has the momentum. Will he go around the outside here? He'll just put it in on the brakes quickly. They both get to the apex, but Mills slides the tires into 12, into 13. That left-hander taking all of the curving as Dinkel, he gets into Mills. He has to slow down. Mills still has the lead, and he gets back on the horse. My goodness, they're right there together.
Now, what's happening here for Landon Mills is a little bit of lack of balance in that car, because when you put new tires on one side and not the other, you have fresh rubber on one side and not on the other, it's going to take a lap or two for that to come up to pressure and be ready to race. And unfortunately, he's under attack this early. If it were even a lap or two later, I think he'd be a little more calm, would be Landon Mills.
Yeah, I agree there. For sure. Mills also, and Dinkel has traffic right ahead. They're too wide, this traffic right now. Papanow and the 24. Look at Mills, almost just completely loses it trying to get by the 37. Papanow says he's sorry, it wasn't his fault at all. Mills was just unsure of where to go. My goodness. Mills, he knows he needs to win this race to have any chance, honestly, of winning the championship. He has the bonus points for all lap. I mean, he's led every single lap, right? So he's got those maximum points from the race. If the positions were the same, Dinkel right on his rear will slow it down, get on the brakes a fraction earlier than Mills. And he's right down the inside of Landon Mills, who comes down to the inside, now to the right side, the inside of turn 14, trying to get the fastest lap possible at the end here, trying to get that hammer down. They're still side by side. Dinkel has the momentum.
Yeah, so Landon Mills did receive a slowdown for cutting a corner that he has or is serving. That's going to be part of the reason that Dinkel's caught up here. But now we're down to turn 1 side by side. That's not the best side by side corner right there. And that's where Trent Dinkel did the right thing and backed out and decided to live to fight another day.
Still existing, still living, and we do think that Dinkel, well, at least I think, I'm not sure about you, Derek, but I think Dinkel's got that pace advantage as well. I think Mills is starting to show his nerves. Dinkel got his out of the way early down this long straightaway coming into turn 7. Dinkel will send it down the inside, but has to put on the brakes, locks up the left side tires. Mills shut the door. That was quite a lunge back from Dinkel.
I think this is where Landon Mills is benefiting from the 2 tires, by the way, because every time Dinkel pushes and he digs into a corner or dives a corner, he's using up what he has left. And as minimal as 2 tires may sound, if Dinkel, hold on, there's smoke in front of us here. Nothing to be seen. Okay. If he continues to push that hard, then Landon Mills will benefit from putting new tires on his vehicle.
Yeah, 100%. I think he'll benefit, but we really, I can't even say that for sure, though, because we haven't seen any difference in the speeds that they're both showing. Here's a replay. I think that was Jose Medina here in the 24. Yes, Medina, or Pruitt, excuse me. That's the 924. Always gets me there. As we see live pictures, Mills and Dinkel overshot turn 1. We're still seeing the replay as well. Hey, look, overshooting turn 1. That's Pruitt. Who went off track there. Dinkle right behind Mills as they come to this 5-6 chicane here. A left, a right, a flick. They both get off there pretty well, but Dinkle a fraction better. He's closer this time. The last lap, he tried to make a move. He's going for it. Mills will cut not him off at all, but they touch. A little bit of body work flying here. Mills has the inside at 8, now at 9, and now the 10. Mills will keep holding it. Look at that focus from Dinkle right there. Eyes wide open.
The difference is every time we see a Trent Dinkle, that's the pose you see on Trent Dinkle. I'm sure he's, under stress and under pressure, but that's the same Trent Dinkle I see on the camera every time. It's that same kind of stone-faced look. You wouldn't know he's fighting for a battle based look on his face.
Yeah, no, but the eyes are not, he's not blinking at all. I'll say that for sure. Look at that, he gets into the wall. Major damage to the left side. Is that going to slow him down? Is that going to hamper his progress? He's trying desperately to get around Mills. This is a dogfight between the top two in the championship. This might be the last time that Dinkle is able to do anything, say anything about Landon Mills in this championship race if he's unable to make the race next week. 14 laps to go.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is the crazy part. It's exciting. It's tense. You would think we're 2 to go with how these guys are racing. There's no backing down here. They're in for it.
No visible damage on the 9, on the left side of the car. That was a pretty heavy hit as he locks it up again. Coming into turn 7, Mills cuts him off with all that room on the curbing. Again, Dinkle desperate to try and get past Mills. Mills is putting up a great defense. Dinkle, oh man, this is a battle for the ages. Look at this, all the speed. Look at the speed. Mills just got loose, getting back onto the track for that transition point here, coming into 12, but gets it slowed down again. Loose. Dinkle, the door has opened. He goes down inside turn 13. He locks it up. They're both side by side. Some slight contact there. Coming into 14, Mills takes it away, but underneath, Dinkle pushes him, tries to get underneath him, can't. Again, Mills still holds the lead. 13 to go here. Dinkle saying something over his communications. This is incredible.
These guys are making me nervous, Dylan. These guys are making me think that maybe Abner Acosta has the best seat here, because these guys keep rubbing like that through 13 and 14, and one time it's not going to go well. And these guys are going to end up in the grass or off track or in a wall. Abner Acosta might just be sitting back there licking his lips, waiting to find out what happens up here.
Yeah, that's, I would say yes, but he is 8 seconds back. He's a far way away. Joshua Daniels is 10 seconds back of Acosta. So, yes, if those two did take each other out, this would be potentially Acosta's race then. Nonetheless, they're still fighting. This is incredible. Dinkle is trying everything he can do to force a mistake from Landon Mills. And in fairness, he has done that. Mills has made some minute mistakes. He just kind of hit the grass there, but so did Dinkle. Dinkle right into his rear. He tries to push him offline. I don't think there was contact there as we come to 13, but this is just the best battle we've seen from these two drivers all season, I've got to say. We haven't seen them duke it out like this before.
No, not to memory comes to my mind. No, not for a lead. We've never seen this. And, we're focusing up here because right now, as you look on your ticker on the left-hand side of the screen, this is by far the closest battle we have. And realistically, the only battle we have of any real distance at the track at the moment. So we're going to stay locked here for a little bit and watch here to come back through the beginning of this course again. And I think those two tires of Landon Mills have warmed up, and I think that maybe that's helping him keep this lead.
I think you're definitely right there. I don't think it's necessarily an advantage, but over Dinkle, who does have worn left side tires. What I do think it is, though, is at this point in time, I think it's helped Mills be a little bit more confident. There's another lockup there from the left sides, like we're talking about. I do think it helps Mills be more confident now that the tires are up to temperature. He's not sliding as much as he was coming out of the pits, where Dinkel was still on tires that were up to temp and Mills was not. So, and of course, remember, Mills did have that 3.5-second lead evaporate. He had that 6-second over Acosta, but then it came down to 3.5 coming into the pits. That evaporated because he just barely overshot his pit entry. So that plays a huge role, trying to get in reverse, and you lose valuable tenths and then full seconds there. We're coming to 11 to go. This is the farthest they've been apart from each other since coming out of the pits.
Well, and it evaporated because you look at the pit delta between the two drivers. Landon Mills, 56.9. Trent Dinkel, 53.4. That time you're talking about was made up literally on pit road. It's what we talked about well before pit stop started. That pit road entrance and pit road delta can matter a lot. Now, in this case, it probably was the box time, but still, that's why Dinkel's up on this bumper, putting pressure on because of that time on pit road.
Now, I know you were saying that, left sides, why would you take left sides when you're also fueling up the car at the same time? I don't think that's the case. 8.9 to 11.5 seconds were the stop times once they were both fully stopped and in service. I think that left side tire, those left side tires, they took away that 2.5 second advantage that Mills would have had had he just gone. I
think they've kept him alive, though. I really do. Trent Dinkel is an amazing road course racer, and
Oh, look at this!
Hold on, we're gonna see a pass here.
Dinkel slides, locks up, and gets into Mills. They both go for a slide, and they both get a reset back, fired away. Goodness me! I think Dinkel did not want to just scoot on by from Mills. I'll be honest. Yes, that was the first time that they've hit each other hard, but I think, as he's still there, Dinkel did not want his
gonna go.
Oh, Mills comes down to block down at the pit wall. Dinkel has the outside here. Mills has the inside. First time we've seen this in this battle tonight. Again, a lockup from Dinkel on the right side. Mills holds it. Will get the better traction coming out of turn 2 into turn 3. Dinkel is just locking it up like crazy. There's a car that just spun off right in front of these two. Oh,
Maverick Davis, I'm pretty sure.
Davis is gonna severely hamper Dinkel right there. Dinkel not happy over the radio. Absolutely infuriated. And I would be too.
By the way, I just want to point out as a side note, obviously it's exciting. Look at that on the left side of your screen. Abner Acosta, 5 seconds. Look at the time he made up because of how these guys were driving. The contact and the slowdown and everything. Acosta is now in the frame shot.
He is absolutely making up time, I think partially because of that spin, that collection of those two. But Dinkel is now over a second back. We'll see if Mills is able to stretch it out any farther in front. We see Maverick Davis spinning, drifting, I should say.
This is the one before. He also was sideways through the road course. Here it is. This is about 4 right here, I believe.
Yep, that is turn 4, so he gets it back going again. Those tires are lit up right now. As we cross the line, live time, Trent Dinkel has already made back 3 or 4 tenths as the 34 goes for a spin grab.
So there's Bradley Moore in the grass as well. Some of these guys are playing farm sim. They've picked up some lawn mowing contracts and are already picked up the ground ski. There's Chad Kibbe now around in the replay here. There's a lot of graspy mode here, guys. You don't have to. They have a beautiful groundskeeping crew here at the track. I don't think they're hiring.
Yeah, I don't think they're hiring either, as Dinkel keeps it going in terms of catching back up to Landon Mills, getting through traffic much more easily there as well. Dinkel, just a quick puff of smoke. He's right there again. He is right there on Landon Mills. I think we can safely say that if Dinkel gets by Mills, and there's a tiny bit of separation, not enough for a lunge to happen, I think Dinkel, bearing any mistakes, because we've seen plenty of them from him today, could potentially be in the driver's seat. He locks it up again.
I'm nervous about the getting around part. Honestly, every pass attempt here has been met with a little bit of a body check or, a pass block, or use whatever sports term you want to use here. I'm nervous about that pass attempt. Now we're seeing Luke Christian here, by the way, in the 21.
Christian trying to make a move as well as we get to lap 43. Dinkel not close enough to make a lunge on Landon Mills. Mills overshoots the corner just a tad. It's a very difficult 1 and 2 here. Trying to set up turn 2 is almost impossible to get it at an optimal point just because of how hard you take turn 1 and how soon after the exit of 1 is the entrance of 2. Mills slides it over turn 5, part of the chicane, and Dinkel has a bit of a run down this straightaway. Just comes off the left side, the actual road itself. Gets back to the curbing on the right side. A big lunge from Dinkel, and he gets into the back of Mills, who slides it right as Tamamacy got loose into the grass in front. Still status quo.
Are we at a road course or a short track? Because I think there's going to be a bump and run here. I think as calm as Trent Dinkel usually is when we talk to him post-race, I think there's a whole Bristol bump and run coming here, maybe with 1 or 2 to go.
I could absolutely see it. Mills swings way out to the outside of turn 12. 13 is taken better by Dinkel, but he tries to go underneath Mills in 14 because he can't do it. He'll slide up just a little bit, and Mills and Dinkel almost even in terms of the traction they get out of the final corner. We're coming to 7 to go here.
And I think it's important to say, as I was watching them battle down here in the turn number 1, if Trent Dinkel could have a crew chief in his ear right now, whether it be a spotter or crew chief, needs to talk to him about having a good points day, right? Right now, you're running in P2. The only one person ahead of you, yeah, they're going to get a few points on you coming in the next week. You make a mistake with 2 to go and you loop a car around and you finish 10th, 11th, or 12th because you wreck a car, now you don't have a good points day. And with the question mark of not racing next week, a good points day is important here. Maybe winning isn't the most important thing.
But it also, at the same point, because Dinkel might not be racing next week, it might come down to just a couple points here or there. It could come down to whoever wins this race. I mean, if he's able to pass Mills, that's a huge swing in points going into Watkins Glen for the season championship. I mean, it's just insane. By the way, yes, it is a 50-lap race. Dinkel actually goes down the inside at 13, gets into Mills, and spins it. He spins it, goes 180 degrees with the straight, and he has to get back going. Where's Abner Acosta in this? He's right behind him.
Let me put another thought in ahead, and maybe we can get confirmation in our ears, but like this race has an incident limit. And with all the car contact we've seen from Trent Dinkel today, I'm wondering if he's getting close to an incident limit. Right now we're being told that Dinkel only has 8 incident points, but like that's one more car contact basically away from being on the edge of a penalty here. You gotta, man, I just said you gotta worry about the points day. You gotta slow it down here. It's okay to be second. I know as race car drivers, we all want to win, but there's a bigger picture here if you want to win a title.
Yeah, but at the same time, I know exactly what you're saying, but I also think that this is one of those rare situations where you can come back next week, right? And you're okay with taking a second place if you were racing in the race next week, because you do have that big advantage. You might lose. You might have a terrible drop week. Well, that drop week that's terrible already, that 11-point race.
That's 11
Atlanta,
points.
Yeah. Could be actually in play, which makes that first and second place, that difference between them, so important. We just don't know exactly the situation until this race ends. So this is kind of wild. We're coming to 5 to go here. And has Dinkel, yes, Dinkel's cut it back to 2.6. It was just 3.2. At this pace, he has one more shot, one more lap. With 1 lap to go, he'll have another chance. But look at all the traffic as we look at the cam from turn 1. All this traffic that Landon Mills is going to have to deal with. He's trying to catch up to Bradley Moore in the 34 right now. catching him at a very uncomfortable spot, this chicane. Will he get out of the way? No. Mills is going to have to take it a little bit more easily. It wasn't the absolute worst spot to catch him, but he gets by him on this straightaway. Trent Dinkle, where is he going to catch him? He's going to catch him in a few corners. That difference is... That grew. Dinkle might have had a mistake going through the chicanes. We've never seen Dinkle make this many mistakes before in a race, and it's all because Landon Mills is just showing up and putting down some lap times.
I mean, I think it's both these drivers have enough respect for each other to know they can kind of get away with a little bit of beat, a little bit of banging. You know, there's that respect you need to have for someone to know you can do it and respect what you're doing. I suspect both these guys might have some words after the race when we do the interviews, if they're up in the podium when we get to them. But, you know, that's just a style of racing. It's not everyone's favorite. There are a lot of drivers who think that what happened there on multiple times would be inappropriate, especially, you know, if you look back into the road racing community. Those kind of moves are very much frowned upon. Maybe not so much in the NASCAR community, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens here.
So an interesting thing to note, we're talking about the incident points, right? Dinkle has an 8x and Landon Mills has a 10x. 13 points is that limit where you get a stop and go penalty. If either of these drivers get a stop and go penalty by the time the race ends, that is game over. And let's just say Dinkle is able to cut down this 3-second advantage in the next 3.5 laps. It would be pretty remarkable if there was a tiny bit of contact from Dinkle to Mills, forcing Mills to get a 4x, because remember, it's not a fault-based incident point system. No. It is a whatever happens kind of system. If they make contact, just small contact at all, Mills would have to come down for a stop and go.
Now, the flip side of that, just to put point reference for maybe any family or friends who are watching who don't know, we have the benefit of having a race control admin in our ears giving us cool data like that. That is not information that is known to these other drivers. As a driver, you do not know what anyone besides you has incident point-wise. So in theory, unless Trent has the broadcast open, hi Trent, if you do, he does not know what Landon Mills has and vice versa. They're going to take some guesses based upon the door banging, but they're not confident in that. And I guarantee you, as a race driver, Landon Mills is not giving up that information. Hello, there's a new fast lap for Trent Dinkle. He's angry.
I just don't know if he has enough time to catch back up, though, to Landon Mills. We're at 3 laps to go. 2.6 seconds is the difference. He'd need to be just under a second per lap. Add a second per lap to get by Mills. Mills has to make a mistake. You see that difference? That's a huge gap. And honestly, Mills needs to make some sort of mistake. And if Mills does make a mistake, going off track is a 2x, by the way. So if you go off track, and if you're Landon Mills, that means you're 1 point away. Or I should say, off track is 2x, I believe. You go off track, and you're 1 away.
Off track is a 1x. I don't... Okay. Yeah, no, that's a 1. So he can do it 3 times before
Or a wall brush or something.
Or a wall brush, right. Yeah, absolutely. But... yeah, I'm with you. I think the problem is unless Landon Mills misses a corner here or does something unforeseen, unless that traffic right there gets in the way, I don't think Dinkle has enough time to close this gap again.
What I meant to say is that wall is a 2x. A wall hits 2x. So if you hit the wall, get a 2x, and you go off track once, you're at that limit. Landon Mills currently has the top 10 as his traffic. James O'Brien. I think this is the last bit of traffic he's going to encounter in this race, and O'Brien is holding him up. Do you know why? Look at the team. Private label. This is some teamwork going on right here. Landon Mills not only has to battle with Dinkle, but he's got to battle with the teammate in the 33 of James O'Brien. This might get Dinkle right back into the race. This is perfectly legal and fine.
I think it would have had they not had Mills not had the benefit. Hello.
Bit of contact.
Certainly, had Mills not had the benefit of that long straightaway, it would have been worse. But I think he's okay But now he's going to back up. He's going to wait for James O'Brien to open a door here, and he's
He
going to
won't.
get on by. Oh, he will. Don't worry.
He's not. I don't think he's going to open up a door anytime
Not on purpose.
soon. Here's
There it
the
is.
door. Mills is just throwing it down the inside. But look, right on the outside, O'Brien was there till the very end, and Dinkle caught way back up. He did get a little bit on the grass, though. Dinkle just maybe threw away some of those precious tenths that he did get back. That was only around a half second better, all said and done. Over the course of that whole lap, I think that Dinkle just completely lost it because of that. This is the final lap. This is the final lap in the race due to time constraints.
Yep, that's right. This league is an hour and a half at most. But laps here, this is lap 50. We're not on time. This is the final lap. This is white
We
flag.
are. My bad. I was like, I thought we were on lap 48 going on the 49. Anyway, this is definitely the white flag, the last lap. Landon Mills is far enough ahead that all he has to do is keep his car on track. O'Brien did all he can to help out Trent Dinkle here. Dinkle pushed harder than he's ever pushed in his entire iRacing career to try and get back to Mills. With one race to go after this, as O'Brien just gives the spot up, not for position, but on track to Mills. We've got one race to go after this. Landon Mills is in second in the championship to Trent Dinkle. We don't think Dinkle is going to be racing, or at least making more than one lap due to constraints of his own at Watkins Glen. I mean, this could be the entire reason. It could come down to a few points in the championship. We'll have to find that all out this time next week. But rounding turn 14, perfection from Landon Mills from flag to flag. He wins it at the Brickyard. Trent Dinkle comes in second. Oh my goodness, what an incredible battle between those two. Abner Acosta will come in third. Amazing race.
A great race, right? A very amazing race. And I have a feeling when we do interviews in a few minutes, when we talk to Landon and you talk to Trent, we're going to get two very different perspectives of what happened down there in turns 12, 13, 14.
I agree. We also have a battle on track going on right now for... Do we? I believe we do. No, actually, race is over for Wayne Grassi and Eric Papanow. They're still racing, actually. I lied. They're still racing. Papanow just slowed down. And he's... Wow, Wayne Grassi. This is 2 laps down, folks. They're still trying to complete lap 48. Once they cross the line, it's over. Papanow, this is 16th and 17th. Had 16th. I wonder if he's facing some fuel problems.
Or maybe
Remember,
he had to slow down from cutting his corner. Yeah.
Or Papanow, if he didn't have a slowdown, remember Papanow pitted all the way like 30 plus laps ago. Remember he had his problem earlier, so he might have been just trying to save fuel. He lost that position to Grassi as they crossed the line. I think that's everybody now who has completed their final lap of the race as Acosta crosses. He's the last car a lap down. We're about to get our finishing results. Landon Mills, a win. That was so well deserved. Probably the most he's ever fought for a win in his life. He goes into the championship race next week with a solid shot of overtaking Trent Dinkle for that top spot. Dinkle in second. Abner Acosta rounds out the podium. Joshua Daniels in fourth, while Bruno Mello, Chris Hudson, Pat Harvey, Lou Christian, and Tristan Callahan are the cars on the lead lap. James O'Brien tried to help out his teammate. He finishes 10th a lap down. Maverick Davis, John Jones, Robert Beasall Jr., and Jose Acosta, the cars a lap down, while Mike Witt, Wayne Grassi, Eric Papanow, Richard Pruitt, they're all 2 laps down. We keep going back. We see Bradley Moore 3 laps down. Jose Medina 4 laps down in the 21st. Tom Macy 5 laps. Chad Kibbe 7 laps. Robert Gamble and Matthew Campbell just parked it much earlier in the going. Fastest lap was a 1:27.8 by Trent Dinkle on lap 47. He was hauling to try and get back to Mills, but just couldn't do it. Take a breath, Derek. That was amazing.
That was amazing. That was I was serious. That was more like a short track than a road course. There was a lot of beating and banging and bumping and probably some words that were said. I was not fully tuned into driver's chat, and my ears might be better for it.
Well, I don't know if your ears would have been better for it. I enjoyed it. It was some good entertainment with some of the words. Nothing was said between the two competitors going for first and second, though. So we'll have to hear their words now. And you know what? We'll get Trent Dinkle in because Landon Mills is still celebrating his victory. And Derek, why don't you talk to Trent when I pull him in here?
Well, Trent Dinkle, P2 tonight. I think there's a lot to talk about. Some of the questions are obvious. You and I talked pre-race, and you said that, you liked this track. You thought it was better than Chicago. So before we get to the obvious questions, are you still thinking you had more fun here than Chicago?
No, this race was a joke. I mean, to be honest, it was a joke from when the session opened. Session wasn't correct, and then, I'm just going to be a sad, sore loser. I don't even care. Landon shouldn't have been able to qualify. The rules pretty clearly state that he had a caution point and shouldn't have been able to qualify. And then at the end of the day, I still got pole, and I messed up going into turn one, and that's on me. And then I made a couple more mistakes, but I was pretty happy. I drove him down from like 10, 12 seconds back like twice because I got a couple slowdowns on accident. But yeah, and then just trying to get around him. I felt personally like it was kind of dirty, but Tommy didn't, and Abner didn't, and James didn't. But I don't know. I feel like after the fourth or fifth time that somebody outbreaks you from like a half second back, it might just be better to give it up. And then obviously I got into him a couple times, and I've done it. I've had that happen before. I did it to James before I was on this team, and I tried to. I'm not going to take the lead away from him if I get him squirrely, because I just don't race like that. But sometimes it sucks that, the respect doesn't get returned, I guess. Landon's good, but yeah.
All right. Well, so the other storyline we're working on, there's a belief you're not racing next week. Is that true?
I don't know. I haven't decided. I'm pretty pissed off. I'm not going to lie. I might lug all my stuff to Julesburg. I might not. If I do, he can't win the championship, so that would kind of, be the end-all be-all. I don't know. Maybe he could. I don't know. But I would hope that he would have to at least serve a penalty that he fully deserves at Watkins Glen. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to be racing from home, I can tell you that much.
Well, if you do race, the question I have for you is, Watkins Glen, I kind of remember asking, I don't remember the answer. Do you like the track? Is it your favorite road course? Least favorite road course? Where does it rank amongst the ones we did in this season?
I freaking love Watkins Glen. I like the new one a lot better than the old one. Especially in the next gen car. I think I got a pretty good rhythm down last year when we ran. I found a spot where you can get outside turn one and not get it off track, and it sets you up perfectly for going up through the S's. And I think you just have to, it's kind of like Chicago in some ways going through the bus stop, because you just have to basically scrape that inside guardrail when you enter every time. So yeah, obviously if I do end up racing, it's going to be for like a lap or two with the back of the pack 5 seconds off pace, just getting participation laps, and then I'll park it. So unless for some weird reason I don't go to Julesburg to race, but I don't see that happening.
Well, listen, well, I know that in this scenario, despite P2, I know it's kind of tough to swallow, but good job out there, and I hope we see you next week. But if not, have fun on your trip.
All right, thank you.
All right, have a good night, Trent.
Yeah, you too.
All right, well, that's Trent Dinkle.
Oh, hi, Derek.
We had some admin issues, like too many people got moved there. Sorry about that. I think now it's time to talk to Landon Mills.
I agree. Let's pull him in. And we are alongside Landon Mills. You won that race. Probably the most contentious race, the hardest fought race all year. I just got to know your initial thoughts with your battling with Trent there.
Yeah, just first and foremost, I wasn't the fastest car tonight, right? I'm not gonna put anything over that. I just wasn't the fastest, and Dinkle had just an absolute great car underneath of him this week, and I he was faster, and I was able to just hang with him. But man, I hope he put one hell of a race on, because I was all over the place in that one. I was missing corners left and right, and the elbows were out, and I just felt like every single time I didn't want to put myself in the vulnerable position and make him work to get around me. So yeah, I had a blast. I was definitely not the fastest car, and I just, I appreciate how clean that battle was, to be honest. Even though we got into each other a couple times, he got into me a couple times, I kind of rubbed him or pinched him off too. So I just, I just hope we put on a great show, because I feel like we did, and hopefully there's more of those to come.
Was there any, thought in the back of your mind thinking that he's potentially missing next week at Watkins Glen, so you've got to maximize your points in this race, make sure he doesn't get by you? Was that at all a thought?
Yeah, it kind of was one of those where you had to win it to even have a shot. The way the point system works here, I'm going to be completely honest with the bonus points. I don't completely understand, but with the way it is, you can't change it. You need every single point you can get, and winning gives you an extra couple. So I knew if he won, he would just gain probably 10 more points on me, and it'd be just not feasible to get in there, even if I were to win next week at Watkins Glen, which by no means is my best track, and I know Abner's going to be very fast there too. So I just knew that I kind of had to just fight for my life there, and I feel like I sure did, and it was quite fun. And I just, like I said, I hope that was great to watch, and I'm probably going to watch this one a couple times back, because boy was it something.
So take us through your headspace where you just had some contact with Trent. You go up 3 seconds. There's just a handful of laps remaining, but you're staring at his teammate James O'Brien right in front of you, and you're also sitting at a 10x at that point. 3 more incident points, and you get a stop and go penalty. What are you thinking then? I'm
gonna be honest with you. I had no clue there's a 13 incident penalty. So, yeah, I had no idea until you just mentioned that. So, yeah, I mean, definitely was, besides the fact not thinking about incident points, but I sure had enough of my hands full with his teammate there, making sure I couldn't get around him cleanly, and he did a great job. I think I lost a good second and a half because of that. But there's a couple points in this race where I feel like I didn't execute. One would be on pit road. I just don't know what happened with my entry and my time on my box. I missed the box completely. I had to back up, and I lost, I think, 2.5 seconds for that. So, I mean, I think either way, Dinkel would have been able to be by my back bumper, but it definitely would have taken him a couple extra laps. But yeah, I definitely, if I were to know there's that 13 incident points, I don't know really what I would have done there. So yeah, that was something. I was just hoping he'd miss a corner or something. But yeah, I just, like, I felt every single time I was able, he was faster than me, but I felt like there's a couple corners where I was able to pull away and put a decent enough gap where he can't get in that position. And I felt like it just played into our hands, even though it didn't feel like it was going to.
So before I let you go, I do feel like I need to hear any words you have on this. Trent was saying, we talked to him just previously, he was saying that you should not have been allowed to qualify. And looking over the rules, there might have been some confusion. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. You did have one caution point within 3 races, which would have meant the next race you would not be able to qualify, and there was some shuffling going on in the background. If there is a penalty of some sort, not letting you qualify next weekend as a kind of a serving your penalty from the half point you got in the 6th race of the year to the half point you got in the 8th race, would you be within the rules, would you be okay with that?
I mean, I don't really. That's a tough one there, and I'll give you a minute to kind of think about it. But I felt like the incident that we had. We've seen some interesting stuff this year, but Campbell and I think that's 27 car last week. Matt Campbell and I, we're great with each other, and to be honest, I think we both just kind of went for that same space, and it wasn't like I got up into him or he came down into me. And the similar thing happened at Pocono, where it was deemed, like I got a half a point for just racing close, and you can fault more blame to one person, but they weren't able to put it 100% on one person, so they just give that half point, and that's what happened at Pocono. And from what I've seen looking at the rules and stuff, I think it's going to be the same situation for Michigan. If you were to penalize, I don't 100% understand that, but it is what it is. I'm not too concerned about speed, but I mean the admins didn't put out a post-race report video at all this week, and there was just little communication on what would be going on. And I sent a couple messages to some admin just making sure that I'm able to qualify, and I really didn't get a response. So I mean, this race, there's no reason to take this one from me, but I'd be curious to see. There's definitely a miscommunication and just people that aren't on the same page right now. So I don't really know exactly how I'm supposed to respond to that, but I mean, I don't think it's egregious enough to make me start from the back or get penalized by whatever sort for the last race of the season when there's a solid, it's going to be a close, tense finish. So if I was Trent, I'd probably say the same thing. I'm going to be honest with you, but for my position, it's not like somebody just cleaned somebody out. It's two people racing for that same track space. So going off of what they've done all year with the half points, that would be how I'd see it. And like I said, half point doesn't mean you have to start from the back. It's a half point. It takes a half point away from your overall standing. So, like I said, I think it'd be a very interesting thing to give it a full point, but I guess we'll see. Like I said, I'm looking forward to Watkins Glen, but it's going to be very interesting.
All right, well, Landon, we'll let you get out of here. Congrats on the win. Looking forward to see what happens at Watkins Glen next weekend. Going to be a lot of fun.
Thanks, guys. Let's go.
All right, Derek, he's pretty happy about that. I'm going to let you take Abner, who finished third, a very lonely third place run for Abner, I believe, and we'll get him wired up in this booth.
All right, well, Abner, you finished third tonight. Sort of, I guess, funny and ironic, and maybe you're a bit of a prophet, because when we talked, you told me you didn't have the Landon and Trent pace before the race started. So you finished right where you thought you would, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. I was kind of, at the beginning of the race, was kind of matching Landon a little bit and maybe catching him, but my long run pace, I just fell off. But yeah, basically the plan was just to kind of just race and see what happens. I was basically on my own little island, so it was fun, but definitely need more pace if I want to compete with Trent and Landon.
So right now, or I guess not right now, but I don't know, 10, 15 minutes ago, you were sitting right there in the catbird seat in third place as there was some beating and banging and some door slamming and other stuff going on. Obviously, as a teammate, I think you're trying to keep Trent a little calm, but as a racer, were you just kind of like, well, this is my shot, let's see what happens?
No, I mean...
Like, was there every moment
really.
You're like, all right, well, maybe they'll spin it around and I'll get first out of this?
I mean, I had the thought that, yeah, they may crash, but it was more kind of keeping Trent calm and, just... I usually, if I do win a race like this, I would want to win out of pace, so, like... I mean, I wasn't really hoping for anything to happen. I was more just kind of... I did see that they touched at some point, but I guess I recovered quickly. But yeah, no, at that time I was just riding for the third place, not wishing anything would happen.
Well, I think if you watch the replay, you're going to find out they touched in more than one place. But yeah, so next week it's the Watkins Glen. Obviously, it's the last race of the season, the championship race with Trent not racing. It would seem like a long shot for you to win, but you're going to go in there and just do your best, right?
Yeah, of course. I think I'll put more seat time, and I think I found some things in the braking and some adjustments in the setup. So I'm hoping to have better pace than I had today. So we'll see.
All right. Well, listen, good job tonight. We'll see you first off Wednesday nights when we go to the Glen and the Xfinity cars, and we'll see you again next Sunday.
All right. I'll see you Wednesday.
All right. Have a good night, Abner.
Have a good night.
All right, well, that's Abner Acosta. He finished third, and Dylan. Oh my gosh, that was interesting and exciting, and wow,
Really had it all, right? There was that drama going on, behind the scenes, and we'll see if that drama continues next weekend at Watkins Glen. Of course, new and updated Watkins Glen. Going to be fun to see these cars rip it around there. I always think Watkins Glen is the best road course on the planet for stock cars. Just flows so well with numerous passing opportunities. We're looking at the top of the S's there. Just a beautifully scenic track where it is at the end or the south point of the Finger Lakes. Going to be a lot of fun next weekend. But we're going to have a lot to talk about next time. We're live with the PRL Cup Series, the season finale. Join us next weekend, August 20th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Well, that's it for us tonight at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the road course version with Landon Mills winning it, defending like his life depended on it from Trent Dinkle, who finishes in second. We're going to crown a champion next week. From myself, Dylan Coyle, Derek Watson as well, Mike, and of course Nick, our production, and then our PRL admin in the booth helping us out. We wish you all a pleasant good evening, good night, and good racing.